hour is 3 o'clock, and this is Women of Sci-Fi. Science fiction has often blazed the trail in forwarding ideas of equality and acceptance. It was one of the first genres to portray women as strong, intelligent, and equal to men. Here today are some of the women who have portrayed these strong roles. Currently with us, we have Salli Richardson Whitfield from Eureka and Debrah Farentino from Eureka and Earth 2. Oh, not even a little bit of a problem. And now we've got Miss Erin Gray.
Good to see you, Erin. Lovely to meet you. Nice to meet you, yes. Excellent. Can I take this one?
Yes, you may have whichever seat you would like.
We waiting for one more?
We'll go ahead and get started.
Who's the other one?
We are waiting for Dina Meyer.
Oh, okay. Dina. Darn it, she's my client. Why did she? Okay. Maybe
All right.
I guess we've taken care of her. Someone's bringing her over? All right.
I believe so. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with a sample question, but if you guys have questions you'd like to ask, go ahead and line up over here, and we'll get you started on that process. To start off with, we're going to go with, were there any strong female characters that inspired you to do what you do today?
Ooh, good question.
Well, I have to tell you, not growing up, I'm trying to make myself younger than I am. Alien was really always my movies, and even now as an actress, that's something that I wish. I still think I have time to get a movie like that. So Sigourney Weaver was definitely, she was smart, she was strong, she was beautiful. It was really everything, and they were really well-made movies. And to this day, I can watch those movies over and over and over again.
And she could kick ass, too.
Yes, she could.
Excellent. I go earlier than you. I'm going back to more the Joan Crawford days, and so I would. It's interesting. Movies in the 40s and 50s were more around the women. So whether it be something like Breakfast at Tiffany's, all of those actresses. I mean, I was a little girl watching all of those movies, and I just like seeing the strong women that I saw in those feature films growing up. But I couldn't say there was a specific, TV series or specific movie other than the fact that, I loved movies and they all influenced me. And you, Debrah?
Oh, I wish I could quote great movies, but I loved Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie.
Good choices. Good choices.
Okay, and so, I was fascinated by television, and in my day, the greatest moment I saw was Neil Armstrong landing on the moon, and I still remember that moment, and became like a junior astronaut and followed him, and it was those moments and the news, but there weren't many women out in the news, or there weren't female astronauts, and luckily I came from a line of female scientists, so I thought something was disjointed, and like, wait, I see female scientists in my life, but I'm not seeing them on my TV.
Someone crawling
Someone
in.
come in. Yay, and here's Dina!
And Dina Meyer.
I apologize to you guys. I didn't mean to walk in.
No, of course not. No worries.
I followed those guys and we got lost.
Yeah.
So I'm usually very prompt and on time, and I really do not like being tardy. So, excuse me. Have some water.
We're just getting
Hi,
started.
everybody. I'm sorry. Excuse me, ladies.
No worries. Do you want to ask her the question?
Yes, we were talking about if there were any strong female characters who inspired you to do what you do today.
You were asking.
We've all
For
answered
everybody.
that. Now it's your turn.
I didn't even get a chance to hear what you said.
Oh, well.
God, I gotta just kind of pull this one
Well,
right
we
out
had
of my
Sigourney
hat.
Weaver here from the Aliens.
Oh gosh, you know what? I wish I can say that. Yeah, there was somebody that I saw right now. I'm just thinking, catching my breath. Honestly, I grew up with a bunch of guys. It just kind of came naturally for me. This being strong and yeah. So Sigourney Weaver, yeah, she was good. Yeah, yeah, she was fantastic. She was fantastic in Alien. Gosh, I'm gonna just have to
We'll give you the next question.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Get her off the hot seat there. All right.
All right, well then, why don't you start with, have you had any contacts with fans who came forward to you who were inspired by your portrayals, who saw you as a role model?
Okay.
Okay, you're not going to give that one to me again, right?
No, I'll go. You know what I found, especially because of Eureka and Allison, a lot of women who have children, working moms, really love Allison's character. She's found a way to, obviously run global dynamics, and at a certain point with an autistic child, and try to have mini romances. And and I think that that particular character is just very well-rounded. They did a really wonderful job at making, a real woman with, who was strong but with great feelings, and also fun. So I find that most women I talk to, especially moms, really love Allison Blake.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Women are afraid of Beverly.
Good.
She doesn't have a maternal bone in her body. But she loves, the thing is that I think Beverly admires Allison so much, and the writers were very deep in terms of backstory for us that gave us a lot to play with. And the fact that Allison saved Beverly's father's life, there is this innate respect that Beverly has for Allison that you may not have always shown, but I think you really were one of the best well-rounded characters on television, given that you're a career woman, a mother, and it's pretty rare.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Dina?
Yes. Hello. I would have to say Oracle. I've had a bunch of thank you. A lot of people who really responded and were inspired by Oracle because, for those of you that are not familiar with the character, Oracle was the character that came out of Batgirl when she was shot by the Joker and paralyzed from the bullet. Obviously she couldn't fight crime the way that she used to as Batgirl because she didn't have the use of her legs. But rather than let her disability get her down and get the best of her, she found another way to reinvent herself and actually be even stronger, a stronger superhero, fighting crime from the wheelchair. So it was just, her disability didn't get the best of her, and she actually became stronger and an even greater force, I think.
Okay, great. I've had the privilege and honor to have had a number of women come up to me and say that I was the reason they became an astronaut, or because they became a police officer, or that my character at the time that it came out, way before these ladies, was one of the first strong female characters, if not the only one on television. The fact that I was the commander of the Earth Defenses, for young girls watching that was an eye-opening, mind-blowing thought that they could grow up and be strong too. So let me tell you, it gives me goosebumps when women come up and saying, "You're the reason, I broke through the ceiling or became a police officer." Or one of my favorites is a young woman who went on to become one of the top fighter pilots in Israel and one of the top marksmen in the world. Wow. And then when she found out that I'm a Tai Chi master, she became a Tai Chi master herself. That's cool.
That's inspiration there.
So.
All right, well, we're going to open it up to questions from the audience if you guys want to start lining up over there. And then I'm going to go ahead and ask, do you feel like there are any roles, speak up. Do you feel like there are any roles that still feel off limits to women in sci-fi?
Oh.
Well, try being a black woman in sci-fi. I won't say there's it's odd. There was a particular show that they decided I couldn't do because she had to travel through time. And they felt that there were places in time that she couldn't go to, that they wouldn't be able to do things because I was black. And I was like, Well, or maybe it could have been interesting of what would have had to happen. So I think as women in general, women actresses in this business, it's hard for us to sometimes find that niche that there shouldn't be. But I think actually in the sci-fi world, it's more open
Yeah.
and fun and room for us to grow there. So it's been a good family for me.
Interesting.
Anyone else have an opinion on this one?
I think when it comes to sci-fi, that's the beauty of sci-fi, is that sci-fi thinks outside the box.
Yeah.
So I think there are no limits, and that's why I ended up as commander. I mean, nobody else would make me commander, but it brought out the commander in me. So that's the most important thing.
I think maybe the role of an alien bug might be off limits for me.
That's for you personally.
I mean, I'm not, I mean, they do some great things with CGI and special effects nowadays. But I could be the voice of a bug. But I think probably the bugs might be off limits right now. Although I did play the Romulan, so that kind of looks like a bug.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of weird.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Do you think Sigourney Weaver helped pave the way for that? Because I also grew up on Lost in Space. The mom had the role, but maybe things changed when Alien came out, and that we could see, so that you could be the commander, and that
Right.
was really opened up the
Yeah.
possibilities.
I agree with that.
That was a big deal.
That was big.
That was a big deal,
Yeah.
actually.
Because that role was not written for a woman.
It wasn't.
Nope, it was written for a man originally.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And she got that, and it changed.
Dizzy from
Fair.
Starship Troopers was a boy in the book. Dizzy, the part that I played in Starship Troopers was originally written as a boy in the Robert Heinlein novel.
Oh,
So, good for you.
good.
A little bit of it. A little
Gotta have
trivia
some
for you.
cute girls
trivia.
somewhere.
Okay.
All right.
Questions?
I think you're terrifying everyone. We don't have anyone with any.
Oh, here she
Yeah,
is.
there they are. Just kneeling. Yeah.
It's kind of exciting asking questions. My first question ever asking at Comic-Con. You all seem to really like working in sci-fi. What's your favorite part?
I just like working.
Here's an honest answer.
Like, as opposed to other genres.
As
you
opposed to
work
not working? Honestly, for me, I have to say, I mean, I love it all. I love sci-fi, I love fantasy, I love real drama, I love comedy. If I can just put on a different hat and a different face and some cool clothes and be a different person, I don't really care what genre it is. I think, they're all interesting in their own way. And for me as an actor, we just kind of like to play different characters. So it's just kind of, the group that you're kind of put in the mix with. Hopefully you're working with other talented actors that are cool, because you want it to be a cool experience, and you want to work with talented directors and fun producers, and if you can go to a cool location, great. But it's for the genre for me really isn't important as much as the group of people that I'm working with, and whatever whatever the location is, and the fun stuff we get to do. If we get to play with guns, we get to shoot stuff. That's also that's usually more of a bonus, which usually comes with the either cop shows or sci-fi. Sci-fi has some cool weapons. It's kind of fun.
I've just loved, like Dina, I love doing what I do. I like doing different parts. I think that's probably what's been fun for these last years and on Eureka, is that you didn't feel like you were stuck really in one genre. You have, it's sort of funny, you have comedy. They really take the drama in it very seriously. We have the fun gadgets. We get to go to space. There really was everything that you could want from a show. So, of course, we love to do everything, but that show has been fun for me.
I came in and out of Eureka, as you know. It's truly, after all the years, one of the most extraordinary group of people I've ever had the privilege of working with. And Colin and Salli and the writers and the crew in Vancouver was a gift. When we talk about the people, it's so much more than what you see on screen. And each character, I think we all fall in love with our characters. And I loved Devon Adair on Earth 2, and that was a great opportunity to play a mom and a leader of a mission. And I loved Lost in Space as a child, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in my own Lost in Space with this. So it's just, honestly, it's a privilege every time we get to step into the shoes of another character.
Yeah. I would say bottom line for me is it's all about the story. And it doesn't matter what genre it is, if it's a good story, if it tweaks the heart and the mind and gets you thinking and asking questions, or making you cry and laugh, that's what it's all about. And I think regarding sci-fi, my only wish is, obviously, haven't done that much sci-fi other than Colonel Wilma Deering, but I would love to have taken her, instead of her losing her strength in the second season, I would like to have seen it expand more and bring in more of the martial arts that I do into my character, which I would have liked to have seen more of.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
honey.
How are you? How are you
Hello
doing?
there.
Good, good.
First off, Erin, you and I go back. I was original viewer of Buck Rogers.
Thank
It was
you.
a great thrill.
Thank you.
And Dina, Oracle, I'm in a wheelchair most of the time.
Oh.
And it really, I had read the character, and you just did terrific.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Thank you.
And you look great in the back row. So. And I do need to mention my first woman character was Nichelle Nichols.
Yes,
Oh.
she's the queen,
Thank you.
definitely.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you. And way to go. Yeah. Bionic man. We love it.
I didn't even
Yeah, didn't
realize.
notice. Yeah.
Hi. So,
Hi.
I just want to say, as a woman in science, I really appreciate, especially Eureka. You've made it a little bit easier for us. But my question is as a woman in science, sometimes I have to play kind of a more masculine role to be taken seriously. I have to stand a little tougher. And I want
Right.
to know if you've had to do the same kind of things as portraying these strong women in science.
I just kind of do it naturally.
I see.
Yeah, she does.
Grew up with a
Well,
lot of
think-
guys in my life.
I think that Erica on our show, who played, Lupo, she definitely had to go through an adjustment of, their first season. They were sort of, especially in our pilot, the first episode, they were trying to make her eyebrows bushier, and they wanted to put her in this. She had this tight bun, and she's a beautiful girl, and it was really hard for her. And I think they finally realized that you can be tough and strong and be able to kick some butt and be a beautiful woman and not have to walk around all like you're some jock. You can still be a woman. I think that she sort of found her way through that, and luckily I could just be me, and me has edge to it sometimes. Most of my critiques through the year were, can you be softer? which was odd to me for what we're doing, but it worked.
Can I ask you what you do in science?
I'm actually an archaeologist, but I also have done engineering, so
Oh, cool.
I try to play the fields. But when I deal with engineers, I have to exert a certain kind of different
Well, you
attitude.
can. Well, you're probably with a lot of men too, and I mean, I found I started directing Eureka the last 2 years, and I knew that starting to do that I could just never show. There was no point during that process could I show any weakness when I was on the set. You just, because that will give them an in.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a little bit of a game of any vulnerability that you have, do it at home.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. In looking at my character, she was strong when she needed to be, but I wanted to make sure that her sexuality and her sense of play was always a part of her. So I never really, I didn't take on that. It was a choice I made of not. I figured all I had to be was direct, and that was enough, But I wanted to make sure she was more well-rounded. I wanted people to see that she had a vulnerable side, and there, certainly there in the movie that, but my setup was differently with my character, I think,
I just see I'm older, so I come from a time when I first got out of high school that I worked in a business for a short period of time, and women had to dress down. We had to hide it with thick shoulder pads and baggy clothes. It was absolutely unacceptable to go into the workplace in an outfit that felt feminine and good. Didn't even have to be sexy. So I see that now it's more really a dance with the male ego that we have to play. And that's just by being incredibly open-hearted and accepting that the male has, a little bit less DNA than we do sometimes. But XY, there's that 25%. But it's just really, when the more secure we are and the more that we just really honor our power, I think men love that. The men that you want to spend time with love that and they dance, but we don't have to cloak anymore. I mean, I still am stunned. I go into offices and see doctors and women dress beautifully, and I'm like, I remember the early 80s. That was just not done. So we've come a long way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, hello, honey.
Hi.
Yes. Okay.
Careful there. You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
So, have you ever had to do like a stunt while you're filming that makes you kind of nervous that you might get hurt or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Who wants to go first with their story? Well,
Why don't you?
yeah, one movie in particular, they talked me into doing my own stunt, and they said, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to explode the helicopter, but you're going to be far away. But we just want that close up on your face when it explodes behind you." And I said, "Okay, great." And all I can say to this day, William Catt saved my life, because as soon as that helicopter exploded behind us, he threw me to the ground. The shrapnel went past us, another 30, 40 feet to hitting the people on the other side of the camera. So that was a moment where I went, okay, we're not doing that anymore. That's why they've got stunt people waiting to go and do that, and then they get the paycheck for taking their life in their in the hands and working on a set. So that was one experience. The other experience I had on Buck Rogers is that I had these really tight spandex outfits, and usually I'm honored. Consequently, the stunt woman is always shot from behind. I didn't like her ass. So my ego was such that I'm going, just move her out of the way, I'll do the stunt. I don't care how dangerous it is, because it's my ass that's going to be up there, not hers. Anyway. As long as she got the paycheck, that was fine.
I don't know if I've had anything that harrowing happen to me, but I definitely, in the beginning of my career, wanted to do all the stunts. When you're younger and you're strong, you want to do everything. And as time has gone on the show, I'm like, yeah, just call me in when you need me. It's fine. The only thing recently was like the last season. I'm like, can I say this? Oh, I think I can. I don't think you've seen that yet. I don't know if but I know that I'm running. Oh, I don't know if I can say it.
Where are we?
Wait a minute, I'm about to get in. I know, I'm about to get in trouble. I think I'm going to be quiet now. But there is an explosion and there's fire, and it was much closer. Always beware as an actor, if the gag hasn't worked like 2-3 times before, and it's not, like the explosion is working and you're sitting in the car that's supposed to explode, then that means now they're really trying to, they're putting more stuff in there, and it's going to be bigger than it was supposed to be earlier. So that's when you know that, yeah, there could be problems later. And now I'll be quiet because I don't know if you've seen that episode. Okay.
When I was young, I loved doing stunts, and I actually was a precision driver, and I did stunts in car,
Cool.
driving, and I love it when a camera operator. Actually, I did a soap opera called Capital, and we had a big opening shot where I had to drive this car into a mansion and hit a spot, and the DP was like, yeah, we got to get a stunt driver. I said, no, don't, let's just do a rehearsal. I'll show you. And, I love that I aced it. But, I'm so many things when, falling into pig slop. And, but I love fight scenes because they're choreographed, and we had
we did fight. Oh my gosh.
Fight scenes there, and
you were dangerous.
I'm sorry. I get into it.
She was so into it. I do. This has been a long show. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I loved it.
All right, she likes fast cars, and she likes to hit. All right.
My Tai Chi instructor looked at me and said, Debrah, Your husband, he's very artistic. He's Tai Chi. You're more Kung Fu.
Very nice. So you studied Tai Chi?
I tried.
Okay.
I think it's beautiful. I'm actually
Yeah.
thinking about getting back into it.
Oh, come to my class.
Okay.
All right.
I've actually always been a humongous fan of doing my own stunts. Obviously, the ones that aren't life-threatening or that might close down production, or if they're not covered for insurance. You want to make sure that if you do get hurt, that they're either covered or that it's your last day of work. Because if you have to, they need you the next day, to be coherent and have all of your limbs. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I gave myself a slight concussion while working on Starship Troopers, which you may or may not have heard about, while pulling Michael Ironside out of the vermiculite pit when we were being attacked by the giant bugs on Planet P.
Only in sci-fi.
Pulled Michael Ironside out of the pit, sans legs, means, and that's sans is without in French, without legs, and in pulling him out, the force in which I pulled him, Casper and myself, I wound up hitting my head on the ground there, and kind of lights out.
Whoa.
For a short while, and so that was kind of fun, but it didn't stop me from wanting to continue doing my own stunts. We got shot on Starship Troopers a bunch. The weapons that we were shooting had a bunch of fire that kind of shot out 6 inches to the side of the weapon, as well as like 1.5 feet in the front. So the fact that they were trying to get as many soldiers in the frame as possible shooting at the bugs that were coming to kill us, we were on top of each other, and so was the fire from the weapons, and we would get a bunch of little marks from the fire.
Yeah.
From the guns, but still didn't stop me from playing with the guns because I like it. And more recently, I'll just tell you one more. I was just shooting a film called Dead in Tombstone with Mickey Rourke and Anthony Michael Hall and Danny Trejo, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was somewhat ill, a little bit of a cold, tired because it was 3 o'clock in the morning. And I saw the stunt girl that was shooting our scene. She was getting thrown off a balcony of a saloon and had to jump onto the chandelier, swing back and forth, horses fighting, a whole bunch of stuff happening. And I just looked at her, and in my, I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun. And I looked over to the producer and I just said, can I do that? So they made a split in my very tight leather pants, put a harness on me underneath, made the pants that much tighter, and strung me up. And I felt so much better after that.
Yeah.
I think it was just like that pump of adrenaline that you get.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, oh my God, I'm cured. Cold medicine, just hang from the chandelier. Yeah. And then so that was that. But yeah,
Cool.
stunts are fun.
Yeah. It's true.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we gave him more than he asked for.
Hello, thank you, ladies, for coming. You guys look gorgeous, all four of you.
Thank you.
Kind of hating you right now because you're just so gorgeous in person. But so my question is, how do you balance both your professional lives and your home lives? Because women nowadays, we want to try to have it all and balance it, but it's difficult. So do you guys have any words of wisdom for women like me who are just trying to do both?
It's tough.
Sorry.
Well, I have 2 kids, 7 and 3, so it definitely having this, with Eureka being over, it has been a hard time during that year. We're shooting in Vancouver. My daughter's in school, so she stayed in school, and I was flying home every weekend, and it was really about making sure that every free moment I went home. And I think it actually worked well because when we're shooting so many, shooting very long hours. Probably would have been home during the week and didn't have much time to spend with them anyway. And coming home on the weekend, I really had that time to just focus on them and not do anything else. And for us in the business, sometimes you're really working, and sometimes, you have some slow time. And like being home now, I just make sure I'm doing everything, all the mom stuff now, as much as I can, knowing that I could have to leave at at any moment. And it really, and I think my daughter appreciates it. And now every job that I get, she's going, "Are you going to be home? Does it shoot away?" She's really sensitive to it. So it's a hard balance. And I think my husband may be coming. Unfortunately, the kids, at a certain point, it's like, okay, but I got to give it all to them right now. So it's trying to fit that husband and married life in there too. It's hard.
Yeah, it is difficult.
How many children do you have?
Oh, I have no kids.
Oh.
I'm just married.
She's like, so how do you do?
I'm like, no, seriously.
I think it does take a village, to quote Hillary Clinton, and without support, it's impossible to really raise our children, your community, however you find it. And personally, I couldn't do it. When I did Earth 2, literally, I worked 90.5 hours a week, and I only know that because my agent called me and asked me how did I do it, because she went through all my time cards. Oh, no wonder I'm tired. And I had a 3-year-old, and I was pregnant through most of it. But I still, because we were filming outside, and it was great. And the truth is, our job, there's a lot of support there. We have, we can bring our children to work.
It's different. You can bring your kids.
There's a lot of support. And after then, I did a couple other series that the Easy Streets, and all these shows I did, Equal Justice. Then Get Real, where the lovely Anne Hathaway was only 16 playing my daughter, and Jesse Eisenberg. And my kids were 4 and 7 then, and my husband was working a lot, and I really couldn't do it. And I was missing out. I had 3 full-time nannies. It was insanity, so I chose to stop for many years. And Eureka was actually the job that brought me back into it. I'm so grateful to that as well. And now my daughter's like, "Mom, what have you been doing all this time?" Well, raising you. No, it is hard, and I think when we think you can do it all, then we put way too much pressure on ourselves, and to accept the fact that we sometimes can't, and that's okay too.
Yeah. Well, in my day, which was a time where they didn't support actresses bringing their babies to the set, that was a really difficult. Oh yeah, it wasn't until Designing Women. Those 4 or 5 women put their foot down and said, "We need nannies on the set. We need to know that we can bring our kids to the set," and so on. But in 78, 79, no. And I had a baby at the time that I was doing Buck Rogers, and that was actually the thing that was the hardest thing for me. You work hard to get to that series, the thing that you want to do. You got that golden ring, and then you went, "Ooh, timing's not good. I have a baby, and my baby really needs me." And that was the hardest thing for me, because I was working 16-hour days, literally sleeping in my dressing room, waking up the next morning and starting another day. It was hard, and it was painful, and it took the joy out of it. And then luckily I went on to do Silver Spoons, which was fabulous, because Ricky was a kid and he didn't come to work till noon. It meant I didn't have to come to work till noon, and that was fabulous. And I get to go to all the Little League games and be a mom and work. And that was the perfect job as an actress, in my opinion, is to doing a sitcom where you work with other kids, and so you have the kids' hours, and so that was great. But it's hard. I mean, the thing that I learned out of that is my son comes first. I have to do everything in my power to be there for him during those formative years as much as I can. And the other thing is make sure you got a good dad.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
Dad, he kept things going at home, made it work.
My baby is a 5-pound Chihuahua named Stella, and she travels really well. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
Hi. Those were really great answers, really helped me. My next question isn't as, I don't know, philosophical as that one. Basically, I'm just asking, so in sci-fi, there's a lot of special effects and a lot of post-production. How do you get, when you're on set, in that mindset, pre-production, like just in the mood for because you can't see anything, everything's probably like a green screen, right?
A lot of it is.
How do you get into the mindset on those kinds of sets?
hopefully you have, I mean, sometimes you just have to amp yourself up. It's very helpful to have a great director.
Yes.
We have for those kind of scenes, because you need that person. Was it Mike Roll, who was so, we had a particular director who was crazy. He's behind them, and he's yelling, okay, now he's coming at you. He looks really ugly. He's trying to grab you, and he's jumping up in it. And sometimes you have to stop because, okay, like, you're being a little too funny now. I can't concentrate being scared because you're funny now. And you really need that. You need, it's really I think that's when you really need that director to help pump and let you know. I mean, because you need to know, okay, he's here now, he's here. And, sometimes there's just a guy with a tennis ball, literally running back and forth, and you're following that so everyone's eye line is at the same spot. And you really have to, probably the one time you have to use your imagination more than any other time in your work.
Yeah, I think in acting classes they have these memory exercises. There's a reason for those memory exercises, to help sharpen your ability to project reality in something that isn't real. Because many times as an actor, nothing or what you're working with makes any sense, and there's nothing real, especially in sci-fi, especially in Buck Rogers, where everything was so far in the future. And I mean, I'd look down at the console and I'd say, oh, that's a toaster, and then there's part of a telephone, and there's a part of and I could almost see the prop department taking things apart and gluing them on and painting it all silver and saying, see, that's your starship. Okay, all right, I'll pretend I know I'm so smart, I can do this. Yes, we're there, we're taking off, I mean, it's, and the other thing is, I think you just have to commit.
Yeah, you have to commit.
You just have to really commit. There's no holding back.
If you don't commit, you look stupid.
Yeah.
You already look stupid,
yeah.
But if you don't just go for it and just believe it, you're going to look, they're going to like, she looks uncomfortable and she looks stupid.
Yeah. Got to be a little bit fearless as an actress.
I that part's fun. It's your imagination. The hardest thing I did on Eureka was did any of you see the episode that Salli directed and that Beverly, I think I was inside your brain?
Wow.
Okay,
Got to know each other pretty well, didn't you?
Oh my goodness. And what happened is Salli is directing. It was
that was my first one.
First episode, and she's playing me, playing her, playing me. I got so confused, and I was so happy she was directing. And I would watch. We do scenes. You can describe that because you were shooting it. But I would watch Salli playing Beverly, my character, and I thought, oh my God, she's so much better. I swear, my jaw would be dropping. And now, okay, Debrah, you step in. I'm like, but she just did it so great. I can't do that.
All I have to do to be Beverly is to be much sexier than Allison would ever be, and just say things really slow and deliberate. And I'm like, I never get to do this, and this is so great. I can just act.
And you had that walk. I'm like,
It's
does
your
Beverly walk like that? It was like, because there was an existential experience, to say the least.
That is fun.
It was fascinating, and it turned out so. It was seamless in post
I love
production.
you.
She did an amazing. It was
Nice.
truly a challenge, and honestly,
director.
you were so in the zone that you kept all of us comfortable, and I had confidence in my director, and so I knew it. If you thought you had it, you had it. And
Wow.
so
I love her.
Yeah.
I paid her to say all of that.
It was the hardest.
Here you go.
It was kind of challenging for me to get involved in the whole CGI, green screen, blue screen, whatever it was at the time, because my acting school, the technique that I studied was a technique that kind of taught you to be in the moment, to be real, to be truthful, and to put the focus on the other person.
Well,
Really, put the focus. If you put the focus on the person that you're acting opposite, you're going to give a truer, more real response, and in a sense, the scene will feel more real and honest and
right.
organic,
Right.
if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I went and did Johnny Mnemonic, and there was all this virtual reality stuff that's not there. And after that, there was Dragonheart. There was no dragon. I'm like, how can I put the focus on the dragon? I'm looking at two tennis balls. His eyes are 8 feet apart. and he's in your face, and then he's there, and you're like, nah, and I'm having a conversation with a dragon. There's nothing there, and it sounds like Sean Connery, which is so, but it wasn't Sean Connery because we were filming in Bratislava at the time, and Sean was in the Bahamas doing his voiceover work in a studio. Oh, nice. We were in Eastern Europe for 6 months, and he was playing golf in the Bahamas, phoning it in, if you will. But anyway, he's amazing. Got to meet him at the premiere, and then after that was got to meet it, and then we got to do Starship Troopers, which. This is directed by Paul Verhoeven, a great director who had this amazing vision, who's super passionate. And again, opposite bugs that aren't there. And it's like, you know, again, you have a passionate director running after you with a tennis ball going, bugs, 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 and they're coming after you. And you have to shoot them, and you have to all look in the same place, but they're everywhere. Yeah. But this was just, you know, just to show you, sometimes you can't prepare yourself too well for what life may throw your way. And here I studied what I thought was going to be the greatest technique for acting, and I had to act in a way that was completely opposite to what I was taught. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Was it fun?
Oh, yes. It was a good time. It's all fun. Hello.
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hey,
How you
hello, good.
Are you Samoan?
Yes.
I don't know. It's just a hunch. I'm just kind of, oh, yes, look at that.
Anyway, let's say you're offered to reboot any classic TV series, any classic movie. Regardless of gender, you're allowed to play whatever role you want. What series, what movie, what role. By the way, my name is Lem from downtheroadshow.com. At Lemzilla on Twitter, I'll be following you. So hopefully we made enough impression to follow me too.
Oh, I want to be Kung Fu
Okay.
from the 60s.
Before you answer, because I
okay.
imagine there's complicated, I'm going to get out of the way because none of these people can see me.
Oh, okay. Hey,
And
what's
I've
your
used up all the cool that I have standing here in front of me. So I'm going to go back there and we're going to film this, and we got your mics.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I almost didn't know how to answer that, but the one image that kept coming into my mind was the Kung Fu in the 1960s was the series that I loved, and one of the reasons I got attracted to martial arts and the idea of going around and playing the wise person who helps and saves, whether female or male. I like that series. I think that'd be cool. I'd like that.
I can't, I'm trying to think of the exact name of that series, but I had an opportunity the last few years to do this movie called Black Dynamite, and it was a satire on all the black exploitation films, and had so much fun doing that, and would love to do something like that again, like Pam Grier, Foxy Brown, detective. Would be a lot of fun to reboot and do the right way.
Guys, so many went through my head, from I Dream a Genie to Bewitched, but
You'd be good Bewitched.
I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
tried to do that. I would love, honestly, to be James Bond.
Ooh, female James Bond.
Jane Bond.
Jane Bond. Nice.
I just think the action sequences and living on the edge, and
And seducing everybody.
I forgot about that part. There we go.
No, that's the
I'm just
important
thinking
part.
the fast cars and the action.
You're back in the car again.
Okay. Oh,
What do
Jane
you
Bond.
drive?
Right now I'm in an Audi.
An Audi, okay.
An Audi. I love this car.
Stick shift?
No, but I love.
Love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love.
Okay.
But I drive carpool too, so.
Oh yeah, I understand.
But the kids know. I teach actually the kids to drive. I like any 15-and-a-half-year-old with a permit.
Cool.
They come over.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. Like BJ and the Bear is coming up.
Really?
Like, I don't. I think it just came to my head because it just sounds funny. Like we make BJ and the Bear. And I want to be the bear.
Yeah.
I don't know, folks.
That's funny.
Did we have more questions hiding in the back there, or?
Well, I have a question.
Oh no, they're rushing now.
Yeah. How did the studio or the producers come around to having you as a director? Is this something that they were open to? Did you find it difficult to?
I was very lucky to be in a very nurturing environment. Jamie, our creator of Eureka, and even the studio, they were very supportive, and they knew, they have to believe that you're really serious about it, and they knew that I had been shadowing and following, and just gave me the opportunity, and they don't have to give it to you again. And so, and then in both of my episodes were huge episodes where I'd go. My first one I had the first one I have a helicopter sequence. I had a lot of the one that was this last Monday was my episode, and it was all action and control room and disasters.
Right.
And that took a lot of faith that I could handle that. So I really got, because a lot of shows don't give you that opportunity anymore, and that they trusted me.
Did they allowed you to shadow and ask questions?
Oh yeah, we had wonderful people there.
That's
I didn't,
fabulous.
and then on my off time I shadowed other shows.
Other shows. Very cool.
And I have a kind of group of directors that I can, because I still do it because I'm still trying to direct other shows. So you have to get in there and see different kind of shows all the time.
Yeah. Well,
Thank
good for you.
That's
breaking the ceiling in our business, in a sense, getting a woman
it's
to direct.
very hard to get in there.
Yeah, very proud of you. That's
I
awesome.
have to say, I don't want to embarrass Sally, but I will. My husband's a director. I know what it takes to all the detail, and the way Sally prepared and arrived on the set, the crew, every department, I inquired. I just was curious, because if I'm going to call my friend, I want to know, and said that she was the most professional together, and on top of that, had a creative vision. So you can go in there and get the technical stuff down but you made the actors feel safe, and you shot the hell out of everything. This last episode was extraordinary. Did anybody see that last Monday's at Eureka?
Awesome.
I actually watched a couple sequences twice, which I never do, and it's impressive.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you, honey.
Nice.
Thank you.
I have a basic working for camera question, which it's something that kind of baffles me, is you have to hit your mark, which is just this little X on the floor, but nobody ever looks down.
Right.
You don't see us looking down.
Do you get better timing with other people's lines? Do you get better just counting 1, 2, 3, 4 on your steps? How do you work at getting so you can just hit it?
I use a sandbag.
Yeah. And hope you don't trip.
Just kind of
Do you kick it with your toe?
Well, it's kind of there. The thing is, you have a basic idea of where you are in the room. You know what I mean? It's just a couple of inches basically if you overstep or something. So
That could be the difference of in frame or out of frame.
or in focus or soft. So yeah, but that's why I'll put a sandbag sometimes for my foot just as a guide, just to kind of make sure I'm there. It's not. I don't know.
I find it's innate. It just happens. Maybe because I did 5 years on a daytime show where you shoot a full 40 pages in one day with 3 cameras moving, and I was very young when I did that, so it got into my brain. So I don't.
Also light.
Yeah.
Also the light.
You feel it.
Yeah,
It's
if you're a woman, you're looking for your
looking
light.
for the light.
And if you're not in it, I could find some light, I'll tell you. But I think it's years of working. You do see, if you see new people coming in there, or you see people coming in from the theater who don't do a lot of TV, they hurt sometimes. They can't find it, and you're shooting it again. So it becomes really years of experience, and you just somehow, you do a blocking, and your body just moves in the right place. And then you have other people, and you know where they were here, you know where you were kind of near this bench. And you can run straight, from the trees to a mark in the middle of the road, and somehow, if you've been doing it a while, you just find it.
You can also feel the camera.
Yeah,
If you can see the camera can see you. So if we're doing a scene together and with the camera, it's like I want to make sure that the camera can see. Otherwise,
you'll be in
just back of the head.
And you'll be in scenes like this, and it can't see you, and you'll be like. And if it's close enough, and the person and you can't see it, You can just push them
Yeah, just go
over
like-
slowly. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that's going on. If you, like Colin and I, are you kidding? I can look at Colin and my eyes will be like, and he'll know and he'll be like, sorry. You know, like, we've got, you know, you have a rhythm together and he'll be like, I'm so sorry. Or he'll see a shadow on my nose and he'll instinctively just go like this, knowing that he's in my light. So it's a dance.
It's a dance.
Yeah, and it's all kinds of things. I mean, whether it be like when we're setting up the scene and you're there where you're supposed to be, just checking, okay, what's in my peripheral vision here? How far in front of the desk am I? And you kind of make mental notes of where you are in that room or in that space. You know, I'm on the second tree, or I'm slightly ahead of the tree, I'm slightly behind, whatever. You sort of make those notes. And then when you're doing a pickup shots, you do what's called rocking in. So you're only coming in one step.
Right.
So you already have 1 foot already there. Or sometimes if you do a couple of steps, you just step back, 1, 2, 3, and you know within your third step,
You should be there.
you should be there. So you have the little tricks of the trade.
And the crew is not happy with you
If you don't.
if you're someone who never hits their mark, because that means they're there longer because you can't find your mark, so we can shoot this scene.
Unless they go into golden time and then they love you.
Right.
After a while, golden isn't, you know, like on the 10th day.
They
They're like,
don't
they're
care
like,
anymore.
just
They
hit your
just get-
mark. What's
they
wrong
want
with you?
So we can get home.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
That's the
We've
first time I've
got-
been asked that question. That's interesting.
We've got time for probably just these last 2 questions.
Okay.
I was just wondering what was the funniest prank you've ever had played on you, or what was the funniest prank you ever played on anybody else?
I have never had a prank, and I want one. That's all. I'm open.
I don't. Jamie, the creator of our show, likes to like on the pilot. There was he likes to jump out of things, like you're like shooting something and he's there, or putting stuff under a pillow. You know, if you're in a love scene, the crew likes to put weird things under pillows that you find that should not be there in this scene.
This happened on Eureka to you? I never got a prank.
Yeah, they like to put stuff
I'm
in
feeling
weird
really
places.
left
I've actually
out.
heard that they probably put those things that they put under the pillow in the love scene next to your face and take a photo if you fall asleep on set.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee.
But we won't talk about.
But we
those
won't talk
right
about
now.
those.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened to me. It's just kind of what I overheard.
We had a lot of pranks and jokes on Buck Rogers. If you get the chance to know Gil at all, you'll see that he's a good old boy from Arkansas who likes his jokes. So we had a lot of fun times. There's one that I played on him on Happy Birthday, Buck, where he opens up a present and he's looking at it, and it was a hand-crocheted warmer for his personal parts. So whenever you watch the Buck Rogers Happy Birthday, now you know what he's looking at. Yeah, tough. Nice, okay. Yeah, giving birth is tough, yeah.
On the set, particularly, I mean, I don't know what season
Avoiding the
that was.
craft service table,
Yeah,
which is
that
where
is-
all the goodies are, which all like the food goodies, all the treats. You kind of want to stay away
Or
from that,
trying not
otherwise
to-
you get really fat.
Yeah, or try not to think negatively when your close-up is now at 3 o'clock in the morning
Right,
instead of
that's
8
always-
o'clock at night.
that's
And you're
always
just
good.
going, really, we're doing our close-up at 3 in the morning and we're like up for 20 hours. Those are hard moments.
I always had the hardest time on the show with it. Like I had a lot of tech talk, and sometimes it just doesn't stay in your head. And I mean, and honestly, it's more. The more you say it, then it just starts. Then you start losing it. And I hate and I feel really bad if it's me that's messing up. And then the more pressure you put on yourself, the more you can't remember it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I find the hardest at work is sometimes, and going back to when they were talking about practical jokes, our creator sent me, because he knows how much I hate the tech talk, and I get it all. He sent me like new pages and said, this is the new thing you have to say. And joking, it was like a page of, as I kept reading, I realized he was joking because it became gobbledygook, you know. But at first I was like, oh my God.
Did he give it to you in makeup? Like
Oh,
the
yeah,
morning you were going to shoot?
No, they
by the
just
way,
had
did you
the
write?
AD bring it to me. There's new signs. Jamie just sent it up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to memorize this. And he knows I'm going to freak out because I'm like, that's me. And so that's his words. So when you get older, you'll never, if you ever did anything like this, you'll never believe that you could remember that much stuff.
You actually brought up something that made me remember probably the worst moment of my life on a set was working opposite an actor. For some reason, I started stuttering. I only stutter with opposite my father. This was a character that reminded me of my dad. And getting through that scene was the most painful because it never happened before, it's never happened again. But for some reason, I could not get through that scene. And the more I couldn't get through the scene, the worse I felt, the more terrified I was because I was holding up production and nobody knew what was going on inside my brain but me. And so that was probably the most terrifying for me moment. Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, I would think, well, I wouldn't say it's terrifying, but what's really kind of awkward and fun is when you got a case of the giggles, and you just can't get through the scene because you just start cracking up, like, and right, like you can be running the lines with the person before the scene, it's all good, or someone makes a joke and you're like, oh man, why did you do that? Because now I'm just going to crack up every time you get to that point, and then you're doing the scene, and the camera's here, and the camera's on you, and the guy's like. Just like, do not make me laugh. Like, just a giggle fest back and forth, and everybody's cracking up, and you just kind of, and then the crew gets mad because they want to go home.
Or that was this Earth 2. We were extremely fatigued, and we're out in the middle of nowhere, and it was a big group shot, complicated, and we all lost it to such a level that we just rapped. We actually picked it up second unit the following week. It was the only time in my career that we really couldn't get the scene. I'm not a problem.
I think that one of the times what I'm thinking that happened was on Starship Troopers. We were shooting, I think it was like 104 degrees in South Dakota, in Padoka, South Dakota. And it was about 104, and we were wearing all of the rubber and the helmets and the guns, and so hot, so dehydrated, and we just couldn't get through the scene because we were just delirious, just stupid, hot, sweating, dehydrated, and we just couldn't stop laughing. It was like, okay, we're all punchy, punch drunk, and so.
We're quite used to that here in Arizona. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have, so thank you again for being on.